So, one thing I thought of in terms of technology that hasn't been externalized is look into the 401 cases, the missing 401 cases. There's a lot of reports of ghost stories, people with amnesia, and a lot of times people that just go missing without, being discovered whatsoever. What it actually looks like to me is I've seen actually public records of tunnel systems. So Smoky Mountains is an example of this. Is Smoky Mountains National Park. Lots of people go missing there. There's actually tunnel systems under there. But another thing I found that was interesting is there's ghost stories at Laguna Beach. Prince Lorenzo Medici shows up at Laguna Beach a lot. His one of his knights created Crown Sterling. I forgot his. I post about these guys, so if you look up Crown Sterling, you'll be able to find on my profile. But that's a guy who is one of his knights. He's at Laguna Beach. So and same thing applies to a lot of places I found that Prince Lorenzo Medici visits on his Instagram. Now he locked his account after I started posting about him, so it's kind of hard to find this. But if you search Medici on my profile, you'll find quite a bit about him. So Laguna Beach, bunch of ghost stories. He's at places in Venice. There's similar ghost stories there. What it looks like to me actually is there's underground bases, might be underground cities like you have in Denver, or it might be just underground tunnel systems, but that there's also kind of technology they have that can produce holograms and simulate ghosts or scary things. So then whenever people go missing, you'll have all these superstitions and things muddying the waters to prevent a real serious investigation. Nothing that was interesting is when the Diddy tunnel started coming under scrutiny leading up to his trial, you had the LA fires break out, and then oh my gosh, you can't go in these tunnels because guess what? There's a car battery for facility over here, and we've got a bunch of burning batteries, so it's not safe to come down here. It's like there's and one of the ways that connects to Medici also is like he had a place in Pacific Palisades and like connected to the same kind of tunnel system that was being locked out. So I wouldn't be surprised if like they could if these kind of people that like run DARPA and stuff really feel threatened, they could like remotely just screw with anyone they want to in very serious ways, like where you're not even hallucinating. It's like there's an appearance of things popping up in your room that you have no control over. That's not real, but it can still terrify you. And when you talk about Operation Bluebeam, it seems like something like that would be the trigger for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that all of those things, like the tunnels and these like UFOs and all this stuff, like that's definitely a thing. And also, like the tunnels and the trafficking is like. So you brought up Laguna Beach, right? And I don't. Do you know what the Brotherhood of Eternal Love was or is? Like it was like the hippie mafia, like going back to the '60s, right? Where they would like they imported all of like the hash and the weed from Afghanistan and Pakistan in these networks that became like the Mujahideen and anyway, which became the Taliban, blah blah. It doesn't matter. But like they were based in Laguna Beach, the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, and like this was the most powerful like drug smuggling organization like domestically in the United States for decades, and they were creating all of the orange sunshine acid. Like they had like factories making it. And like, does this sound familiar? Brotherhood of Eternal
Yeah.
Love. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
and they're connected with Charles Manson and the process and like blah blah blah, like all of it. But and Timothy Leary, like they Timothy Leary actually was like living with them while he was running for governor of California, and he ended up getting busted for weed, went to prison. They conspired with the Weather Underground to break Timothy Leary out of prison and sent him to Algeria I mean, this is like, again, it's all these like human, trafficking tunnels, networks, drug networks, like the same people that were like coordinating all of like the acid and all of the weed, like trafficking in the country, the Brotherhood of Eternal Love. They were also able to like bust people out of prison, like the most high profile like person in the country, bust him out of prison and get him to Algeria, like moving humans, moving drugs, like, but yes, they were based out of Laguna Beach, and they had the Mystic Arts bookstore in Laguna Beach, and that was like their like that was their hub. That was like their they owned this like head shop, it was like a head shop and a cult bookstore in Laguna Beach, and that was like their headquarters of this like gigantic trafficking network. And like it's just the craziest story. But they like Laguna is extremely important, and obviously they have tunnels, and they had a 3,000 acre ranch up in the San Bernardino Mountains, in Riverside County, in a town called Idlewild. So like it stands to reason that they have tunnels that go like from Laguna like into the mountains, and in between there, in Riverside County, there is, oh god, it's like like China Lake, this whole like compound of like the largest armament repository for the Navy. It's like where they store all of their like weapons and bombs and stuff. It's right there in Riverside County. Like, so it's all connected. And that's where um oh God. You talking about UFOs and the Starfleet Academy, right? The Tom DeLonge, like the guy that he's in the band with. His father was working at this like China Lakes compound. Tom DeLonge is from San Diego, which is like his parents were naval intelligence. Like this whole area, it's all this UFO drug trafficking tunnels, armaments, human trafficking, like just complex. It's definitely connected with tunnels. So, anyways, I know that was kind of like scattered, but yeah, like all
No,
of those people are connected
it's
big time, and Laguna is like a big like epicenter for all of it.
no, it's fine because it's like Laguna is one of the things that hardly anyone talks about. So it's like, if it's a big deal, if you have Medici popping up there. Oh, also, you had the Savoy, from the Italian royal family, the Savoy monarchs, who are also related to the House of Bourbon and Farnesy. You have them also organizing their orders of chivalry for cleanup at the LA wildfires, which were conveniently placed, in areas where you have entry points for these whole tunnel systems. So you had the Savoy Orders of Chivalry organize and end up giving people payouts for it. So what it looks like to me is that was a way to like just pay out straight up accomplices, and it's the exact same kind of locations that Medici was showing up in, but you have I found other angles from different families, but same location, same orders of chivalry. It's just seems like it's all related also on that front.
Well, and all of these guys, um, like there is there is this like connection with these like for example, like this Brotherhood of Eternal Love, like they were operating, they had they were operating like gladio operations in Italy too, like like training all of these like networks of like domestic terrorists, or like there's like a real connection between that area
Italy is so I
in
don't a
Southern
lot of people don't
California
yeah
and Italy, like and these
a lot of people don't
networks.
realize how corrupt a lot of people don't realize how corrupt Italy is. It's like insane. And people say, oh, look at Sicily, the mafia is on the decline. Like, no, what you're looking at is more mafia on the police force. So like things have a semblance of peace and everything, but it's fake.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Um,
I mean, it's like the kind of situation going on when it comes to police, trafficking, criminal networks, like just going on in the interstates, like in people's backyards. It's so much worse than people realize.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no question. I mean, it's so big, and it's also like, it's also like in your face, like you're seeing it and you don't realize that you're seeing it every day. Like if you live in a city, like you're seeing these people, you're seeing like, evidence of these networks, because like every city is connected by these like interstate corridors, and these like transportation hubs, like airports, and like different like networks, and you're seeing it, and you are like floating above the surface of it every day,
Dude,
interacting with it.
I used to use the Chinatown bus all the time when I lived in New York to like get down to DC for gigs and stuff, and then like take it back. Dude, that's just a trafficking route. You get on a bus for $15 in Chinatown, Manhattan. It takes you to Washington D.C. for $15. Are you fucking kidding me?
Doesn't it go through like Philly too, or something like
Get
that?
stops in like Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, Delaware is like the shadiest place on earth.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's like credit card scams and no tax zone.
Yeah, I mean, they have like, because they have like all the corporate, like all of the companies incorporate in Delaware, because they have these like crazy laws that just
Yeah,
like let
like
you do whatever you want, and
I
and they
used to
have
have an
like,
LLC in Delaware. It's like if you live in New York in the tri-state, you get an attorney that can set you up an LLC in Delaware, so you don't have to pay New York City taxes.
oh yeah, I mean,
Because like
like,
there's entire companies in Wilmington, like there's buildings that are just floor to ceiling, as many floors as possible, like high-rise buildings that are just PO boxes for
yep,
LLCs.
totally.
And so like you buy one of those boxes and then you set up your LLC in Delaware and you have an address it's a little hole in the wall in a building full of probably 400,000 other PO boxes, but you have an address in Delaware.
Uh, and yeah, and like, who was the senator from Delaware for like 50 years? Joe Biden. I mean, like, Delaware is like the most. I mean, Delaware is the most corrupt place, dude.
It's pretty funny,
but
man.
but like but the DuPont family runs Delaware,
Yeah,
right?
I've been to that
And
mansion. It's crazy.
And that's
and
Kelowna. DuPont is the French branch of Kelowna from the Papal
and
States, just like Columbus is the Spanish branch.
I
and they
I
and they were
dated a
running
DuPont for a while.
and they were running Operation Paperclip. Like, DuPont brought
Hmm.
in like all of IG Farben to this country to like run DuPont,
Dude,
Dow Chemical,
I
like.
I dated a chick that was a DuPont, like like in the family, like last name DuPont, and like just blonde hair, blue eyes, like the most Aryan looking chick you've ever seen. It was so funny.
And you didn't lock that down, dude? Jeez, come on.
No, she wanted to move to South Carolina to become a librarian and like excommunicated herself from the family.
You should have come to South Carolina because that's where I am.
Dude, she's in Charleston, man.
Mm. Yeah, no, yeah,
Of course she
Charleston.
is.
Charleston. It's okay. I'll just say that this is a little bit off topic, but Charleston's pretty freaking awesome because like you've got you've got all these water channels around there because it's in the depression affecting the temperature. So it's like the only place in the southeastern seaboard that's a Mediterranean climate and that stays like a much more uniform temperature all year than the surrounding area.
I actually like Charleston a lot.
I mean,
I
isn't
used to live
isn't
there.
isn't there like a ton though of like, high level like occult stuff going
Yeah,
on in
dude.
Charleston?
So check this out.
Yes,
So check.
absolutely.
Hold on. Check this out. I don't think I've kind of mentioned this, but I've never really elaborated on it, Michael. So when I lived in Valencia, um, when I was working there and studying there, my roommate was an American guy who was the nephew of Robert Jordan, the author of Wheel of Time. So, so I was living with him, and we became pretty good friends. But he took me to Robert Jordan's house, which is like one of these gigantic mansions in Old Town Charleston, and it's like fucking the guy was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and like his house is just all occult artifacts and shit, dude. It's like being in a haunted house movie script like level of like mansion. It was crazy, man. but I got like kind of a window into Charleston high society from him, and it's interesting. There's like that.
Does it strike you as incredibly fraternal?
It's incredibly fraternal, but I gotta be honest, Charleston isn't nearly as occult and spooky as Savannah. Savannah is like cream of the crop of like there's some legitimate black magic stuff going on there. I mean, they're not far from each other. They're like an hour and a half away from each other.
I was born in Savannah, by the way. My parents
Oh,
live there.
word.
Yeah, yeah. And and it is crazy. And like there are, I mean, in addition to like the high level stuff, like dude, like there's like crazy voodoo stuff there too,
There's voodoo all over
like
the place, man.
big
Like, dude,
time,
it's
dude.
crazy. Like this, have you been to that cemetery? I love that cemetery, but it is crazy going in there. You'll see like shamans coming out of that cemetery,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, no, it's nuts, dude. Like it's a spooky place. And
Yeah, it's terrifying.
there's and the whole thing about Savannah, like, and I don't know, if Charleston, like something similar happened there, but and I know that like Charleston, like Fort Sumter is where the Civil War started, but like in
Correct.
Savannah, you had like you had Sherman's like March to the Sea, where he burned every single thing, but he stopped in Savannah and he
Yeah, you
didn't
saved it.
burn it. He saved it, and he like wrote a letter. He wrote a telegram to Lincoln and said like, "Oh, I saved Savannah. That's your Christmas present. You're welcome." In like 1864 or whatever. And it's like I
Yeah.
don't know, man. Savannah is spooky, man.
Yeah, Savannah
Um,
creeps me out, dude. There's a
uh,
couple spots that I used to hang out in Savannah. Also, it's the largest shipping port on the east. It's the second largest shipping port on the East Coast. Like it's a huge
Oh
shipping
well,
center.
there you go.
yep,
Yeah, there you go.
yep.
That's there's obviously gonna be major power plays there that no one's gonna hear about.
New Orleans too. New Orleans is really
Oh yeah.
big, with the port and
Also,
obviously
it's a
all the
Jesuit
really
city.
spooky stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
totally Jesuit city.
Yeah.
New Orleans is I don't know, man. Like and that's again like that's where the process incorporated when they came to the United States. Like New Orleans is high level stuff like obviously like the whole JFK like conspiracy network was all based out of New Orleans. But like, have y'all ever read this book called Dr. Mary's Monkey? Do y'all know what that's about?
Nope.
Oh my
No.
God, y'all gotta check this out. So, but it's all about like through like Tulane University, they were running these like covert experiments that like Danny Ferry, like all these conspirators from the JFK scene, Lee Harvey Oswald, they were all like working. What they were doing was they were working on like these like turbo cancer, like applications, like virus using monkey viruses to give like rats turbo cancers and studying them in these like off-site apartments that were being like this is where Lee Harvey Oswald was like working, like like before the assassination. And like the apartment was being like run by Danny Ferry, and it was all these like people from Tulane were working there. Like I mean it's so freaking crazy. And the guy who wrote it, Edward T. Haslam, like he's pretty amazing. But like, and his father was a professor in medical school at Tulane, so he was like really tied into it. But he like went to the Jesuit high school in New Orleans, so like I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a
Newman High School.
huge. It's a
Yeah.
huge
It's
mind fuck.
so
But like
so my
like New
roommate
Orleans is crazy, dude.
my roommate in Spain that I told you about, he went to that high school. It's Newman High School. It's
Okay.
fucking nuts. You look who comes out of there. It is high level people, dude. And they also put out like a ton of like elite NFL players, like Peyton Manning, OBJ.
Oh,
Yeah, it's crazy,
oh,
dude. It's
oh.
crazy.
That's really interesting. Yeah,
And
Peyton.
like I said, he was the nephew of Robert Jordan, which like I don't know if you're familiar with Wheel of Time,
No.
but it's the best selling fantasy series of all time. It's outsold Game of Thrones and
Oh.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like
Okay.
there's an
That's a big
Amazon.
deal.
They just did an Amazon show for it. Like Robert Jordan's dead now. There's like
Okay. That's a
seven
big
or
deal.
seven or eight books, but they're all based on the metaphysics of the Earth is balanced on a tortoise shell You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Sure.
but it involves a feminine hierarchy of magic and witchcraft. Like they're pretty cool books in terms of like fantasy writing, but yeah, they've outsold Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones by like a lot.
Okay. What's it called? Wheel of Time, you said?
Wheel of Time, yeah.
Wheel of Time. Okay. Okay. I need to look into that. That's really interesting. The other thing though, what's really interesting though, is we were talking about rap music before, and like New Orleans is
Oh,
like
it's
a
huge.
major center of all of this, and I'm telling you, those guys,
Yeah,
what they're into is voodoo, like
yeah, dude.
Cash
I've worked
Money,
with Big Freedia.
like yeah,
I've worked with Big
little
Freedia.
like Lil Wayne
Yeah,
and a Birdman, like Cash Money Records, like they're voodoo. Like Lil Wayne wears the red Kabbalah bracelet. He like hangs out with Madonna. Like they're really into that stuff.
yeah. I mean, like Big Freedia is a witch. I mean, she's a transgender witch, but she's a witch nonetheless.
She's a transgender.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Big Freedia
crazy.
is Big Freedia is pretty cool. She's like worth looking at. Like, she's very interesting. Like,
Okay, I
she developed this entire genre of rap music from New Orleans called bounce music.
okay.
That's like it's not like hip hop beats like Cash. It's not like that's like trap rap. Like Big Freedia stuff is like twerk tempo, four on the floor, like Afro Caribbean rap. But it's like got its own.
Mhm.
It's got its own style. That's also like an offshoot from like Zydeco, like traditional Zydeco,
Well,
like New Orleans music.
twerking itself is straight from voodoo. It's like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't have this. They don't call it chakras, but it's the same. Like the
It's the
purpose of
same
twerking is
concept.
like is like moving up your
Yeah,
chakras through. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
It's all Kundalini
Kundalini.
shit,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah. Totally.
But yeah,
And
Big Freedia is worth looking into. She's cool.
what like is this like current that she's, or is this like old
Yeah, yeah.
school?
It's like no, it's like current. Like so I would say bounce music showed up on the scene somewhere around like 2009, 2010.
Okay, okay.
So it's been around for 15
And
years or
is
so.
and she's
And
like
actually, it
openly
was
transgender?
yeah.
Oh wow,
And
crazy.
it was like it was kind of an underground genre that was pretty much hyper localized to like the fifth and sixth ward in New Orleans.
Okay. Uh,
And then what happened was is that Diplo picked it up and like started playing
uh,
one of her tracks, like just incorporating it into his sets. And then it kind of took off from there. But he kind of like brought it about to make it like mainstream as a genre.
so is he into like all the binaural beats, probably
I
like
mean,
that kind of
probably
stuff? Probably.
he's a really good producer. Like
Yeah.
he's outstanding. I've met him a few times. He's like pretty humble. Like he's like a pretty normal guy actually. But I mean, I would assume so. I mean, I make a lot of EDM and I've used it before in my mixes. I mean, it's like
Mhm.
not uncommon. You know,
But I mean,
if you go to
it's
if you
but it can be weaponized though.
100%, like if you type
Right.
into Spotify JJ on the beat, all one word, I think I have like two tracks of my EDM days under that name on there. But both of the mixes I have on there use binaural audio.
Okay. 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 JJ on the beat. All right, I'll find that.
There's some weird shit I made in Spain.
No, no, that's a yeah. I mean, I like that's kind of the thing. Like I just uh I don't know that much about it, like from an actual like musical standpoint or whatever, but like I've speculated for a long time, like what
Well,
this
like
stuff is
I
really
think it,
about, and especially when it's combined with these drugs, like like
well,
what
I think
happens.
that's the thing is that like binaural audio is only a catalyst for something else. Like it still needs an externalized stimuli for it to actually function properly. And a stimuli can actually be spell casting from lyricism.
Mhm.
It can be
Okay, yeah. Mhm.
you can even like I've seen some music theorists go out on a limb and say certain chord progressions are like low level spells because like normal people that don't have like music theory backgrounds get addicted to chord progressions. So you look up like that comedian that did like all the pop songs have the same four chords. You know, it's the 1 6 5 4 chord progression that like it's addictive. That is like a low level magic spell. Now you tie something like that to
Oh,
binaural
shoot.
beats, and you're elevating the strength of the magic that you're using, right? So it can be weaponized. Like there is a way to do it.
And then you have like neurolinguistic programming with the
Yeah.
lyrics on top of that, and right, totally.
Well, and I
And then
think
the person listening to it is taking drugs.
right, and I think the drugs are a big thing. I have this book. I've shared it in the group chat a ton, but it's like a concise history of video audio video audio art, like multimedia art in music performance, and it goes into like how VJing and like LED walls and lighting design are directly related to the 90s proliferation of LSD and MDMA. I mean, it's like well documented in the book.
Uh,
It's fascinating.
well, and it's the same thing like in the in the 60s with like the Merry Pranksters and the acid tests and like the Jacob Light show and all of that.
Yeah, I mean the Grateful Dead Wall of Sound. I mean that
Well, and
that's weaponized. Like that's
well, dude, the
100% a weapon.
wall of well, do you know that the wall of sound was designed and built by Owsley Stanley, who made the
Yeah, dude.
acid?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, it's just
Yeah, it's
crazy.
always, dude. I'm telling you, it's
Well,
always the audio engineer. It's
well,
always the fucking audio
well,
engineer, dude.
and Owsley, and so here's what's really crazy. Do you guys know anything about like his background? Like,
I know mostly about the sound system.
so Owsley Stanley, I mean, this is just like totally nuts, dude. On both sides of his family, like they were like Kentucky blue blood, like political elites. On one side of his family, he had the governor of Kentucky and a U.S. senator. On his mother's side, like U.S. congressman, like. Those are the Owsleys, and his father's side was the Stanleys, and like like he worked at Jet Propulsion's laboratory that was started by Jack Parsons that became like
Oh, nice.
NASA dude, that was
Yeah.
like doing the Moonchild, Babylon workings with L.
What
Ron
was it?
Hubbard. And he was
Panspermia.
yeah, but Jack Parsons like was directly a disciple of Aleister Crowley. Like, I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
he's actually studied under Aleister Crowley, and he started Jet Propulsion's laboratory, JPL, and Owsley Stanley like worked for him. And then he went to like up to the Bay Area, and he like you know he connected with do you guys know who Sasha Shulgin was? Alexander Shulgin? Because he's the one who actually like took
Yeah, dude.
the
Oh my
ferment.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So when I was making research chemicals in college, I was a
Well, he
retarded.
invented all of them.
I
He
was I
invented
was a
all of them.
retarded. Yeah, I was a retarded 18-year-old, and I was doing this. But I was. There's like so look if you look up like NBOME, it's this BS like that's fake acid. What you do is you take the Shulgin drugs. So Shulgin invented these mescaline derivatives, which were also derived from MDMA. So it's pretty much like analogous to both those molecules, but they work less like serotonin agonists that make your brain flow with serotonin, like MDMA does. They work more like 5-HT2A receptors, like mescaline
So,
is. So yeah, he invented this entire class of drugs called 2CX. Okay, so the N-Bome series, it's kind of like a stimulant group. It's kind of similar to theobromine, which is in chocolate, but much more. It's not like it either. I'm just trying to make a comparison, but if you merge that with the 2CX, it could be 2CB, it could be 2CA, it could be 2CE. You merge that, you get with the N-Bome, you get something called 25. So instead of 2C, it turns into 25. So if you have 25, they're 2CI, it turns into 25I. I was making stuff like that, and on it, like, dude, like,
Sounds terrible.
yeah, no, I liked it. I liked it too much. Like, I thought it was great, but then, I wasn't measuring things because I was a retard. I pretty much dosed it like 4 times stronger than it should have been, and this batch got people expelled and sent to a psych ward. Like, I can't believe I didn't get in trouble because like the guy who went to a psych ward, I was carrying him to his dorm, and he was like having seizures and stuff. So then when I was walking him to his dorm, he was like saying his name. So I'm saying, hey, like, I know you're dying, but I'm taking you to heaven. So make sure you tell God that I was the one who took you there so I can get a reward. He kept saying his name. He was like saying his name. I'm like, no, that's not my name. That's your name. Tell God my name. Like I end up talking like right when we were having that conversation, campus police came up, and I don't know how I got like an adrenaline rush, and I was able to think of bullshit. But I don't know how I got away with it because like I sold this stuff to like maybe like 37 people at this night, and over 10 of them ended up getting expelled because like it was dosed improperly, and you can't see inches in front of your face when you have too much of this stuff. And yes, the guy like I was literally carrying there ended up going to psych ward, but no, I somehow faced no consequences whatsoever.
Well, Shulgin. I mean, what's really crazy is, dude, like the guy, he had a DEA license, like, when he was inventing all of these things, like
Yeah,
he was working, he was,
top
I
drug dealers, DEA. Yeah,
and he like he's been a light he was he's dead now, but he was a lifelong member of the Bohemian like club in the Bohemian Grove. Like, I mean, this dude was like that high level. He got his start at Dow Chemical. So, like Dow Chemical, is like somewhat smaller version of DuPont, basically. And they're based out of Michigan. Okay. And now the Dow family endows the Interlochen Academy for the Arts,
I'm
which
an
is where
alumni.
which well, so is Jeffrey Epstein,
Yeah,
and
well,
you
I'm
know
aware.
that, and
Yeah.
and Jeffrey Epstein like had his own cabin on site as like an adult because he was like consultant, like benefactor of so yeah, so about the Dow chemical family,
Hmm.
and they brought over like a lot of these Operation Paperclip guys, including Otto Ambrose, who was like in charge of the projects at IG Farben, that was Zyklon B, and sarin gas and tabin gas, like all of the nerve agents that they were using, like to kill masses amounts of people in the Third Reich. They brought him over, and he was the one. I mean, now this is where it gets like speculative, but like I believe that he is the one who introduced, like, who like groomed Sasha Shulgin, because Sasha Shulgin like made his bones at Dow and became like like a made man basically in the chemical industry by making like a pesticide called Zactrin, and he I believe that he like did that under the auspices of Otto Ambrose in the 50s, and because like sarin gas, Tabin, like Zyklon B, like they were all developed as pesticides before they were used as like nerve agents for like killing human beings, because they were so effective pesticides that they can be used against human populations. Sasha Shulgin made this Zactrin. There was a biodegradable pesticide, and then he was so successful that Dow Chemical said, "Well, you can do whatever you want now because you made us this like ridiculous product that we're." So they're like, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, "Oh, I want to work on these psychedelic drugs." And that's how he got his start. Yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah. I know this part of the
and
story.
but he was like, see, he grew up in Berkeley, like and he was actually like working at like as an adjunct professor at UC Berkeley at the time, and Owsley Stanley shows up and is like auditing classes. He wasn't like actually enrolled, but he was auditing classes, and Sasha Shulgin like basically takes him aside and is like, yeah, like here's how to make this LSD stuff. It was still legal at the time. This is 1966, and that's when Owsley started cooking it. But like in the same class was this girl called Melissa Cargill, and she was like, do you guys know like the Cargill Corporation? It's the largest privately held corporation in the United States. It's all family owned by the Cargill family, and it's like industrial agricultural products, and I mean it's huge. And Melissa Cargill is the she's like one of the heiresses, one of the scions of the Cargill family, was in that class. He introduced them, they became like boyfriend and girlfriend, and she was the one who was cooking the acid with him. I mean, it's all these like ultra like elites that are involved in this.